And we're back on track with our Henry Earthmoving Restricted Open Campdraft. Very big thank you to Daniel Cheers and Wayne Deneen for accepting the opportunity to judge this weekend. The winner of the Restricted Open Campdraft will take home a Ride Tough buckle and $5,670 in prize money. There's also $500 cash up for the highest cutout. And our first competitor in will be Brent Flanagan and Luxall Ruby. Just want some cattle on camp. They're on their way. Standing by 102, Michael Hiscock, 103, Jason Penny, 104, Clayton Hawk, 105, Cameron Lee, 106, Ewan Smith, 107, Abby Brighton, 108 will be Mitchell Hoy. Please stand by. And we're almost underway. Can I say there has been such good drafting this morning. We currently have 30 competitors scoring above 87 points. So at this stage we have 30 competitors scoring above 87 points. There's been some great drafting. We're currently at competitor 101, Brent Flanagan and Luxall Ruby. This is Brent and Rose's own nomination and they hail from Gundawindi. Course for his gate is out on course. Competitor 101, Brent Flanagan and Luxall Ruby. Michael Hiscock, you'll be next at 102 with Mewburn Buick. Stand by 103, Jason Penny, 104, Clayton Hawk, 105, Cameron Lee. Score for Brent Flanagan and Luxall Ruby, cut out 20.5, horsework 61.5, course 4 for a total of 86. 86 points, Brent Flanagan and Luxall Ruby. 102 is our next competitor. It'll be Michael Hiscock with Mewburn Buick and owned by Pat and Luke Hardwick. This is our Mafra competitor, Michael Hiscock. We have standing by 103, Jason Penny's One More Curry, 104, Clayton Hawk's LD Witching Hour, 105, Cameron Lee's Hazelwood Moonlight Con, 106, Ewan Smith's Arlie Boss Lady, and 107, Abby Bright. If we could just have someone to turn those cattle back, they're just about out on the course. If we could just, thank you. Michael Hiscock we watch, Mewburn Buick, competitor 102. Jason Penny will be next at 103, One More Curry. Thank you to the outriders, the arena cleaners. We really appreciate your assistance this morning. I know we get a bit light on the ground towards the end of the weekend and really appreciate your help. And we have a score for Michael Hiscock and Mewburn Buick. Cut out 15.5, horsework 59, course 4 for a total of 78.5. 78.5. Gunnedah horseman Jason Penny on camp at 103, one more curry. You're watching competitor 103, Jason Penny, and one more curry. Score for Jason Penny and one more curry, cut out 21.5. Horsework 62, course 4 for a total of 87.5. 87.5 for Jason Penny and one more curry. Competitor 103. There's 191 competitors to run in this particular draft. And we're up to competitor 104. And 104 will be Clayton Hawk and LD Witching Hour. 105 stands by, Cameron Lee. 106, Ewan Smith. 107, Abby Bright. 108, Mitchell Hoy. 109, Michael Reid. 110, Louise Comiskey. 111, Kurt Hanrahan. 112, Lexi Payne. 113, James Moorhead. 114, Pete Comiskey. 115, Regan O'Donnell. And 116 will be Scott Edwards. You watch competitor 104, Clayton Hawk and LD Witching Hour. Cameron Lee goes on camp at 105. $15 for cutout for Clayton Hawk and LD Witching Hour. Our Yumamaran competitor, Cameron Lee, is now on camp, riding Hazelwood Moonlight Con. Standby 106, Ewan Smith, Ali Boss Lady. 107, Abby Bright, Stewart's DNA. 108, Mitchell Hoy, riding SCH Smart Times. 109, Michael Reed's and His Gift. 110, Louise Comiskey's Savvy Dancing Cat. 111, Kurt Hanrahan's Peptozina. 112, Lexi Payne's Concrete. 113, James Moorhead and Stolen Blues, and 114, Pete Comiskey's Nashville Roy L. Destiny. Score for Cameron Lee and Hazelwood Moonlight Con, cut out of 22. 22 for Cameron Lee. Out on course, competitor 106, Hewan Smith, Ali Boss Lady. This is our Tansy competitor. Standing by 107, Abby Bright, Stewart's DNA. And a cutout of 22. 22 for Hewan Smith and Ali Boss Lady. Next is St George competitor, Abby Bright with Stewart's DNA. She comes in as competitor 107, standing by 108, Mitchell Hoy, 109, Michael Reid, 110, Louise Comiskey, 111, Kurt Hanrahan, 112, and that will be Lexi Payne's Little Girl. Little Twirl. Abby Bright we watch, competitor 107, Stewart's DNA. Owned by Abby Bright, comes to us from St George, Queensland. Mitchell Hoy, you'll be next at 108 with SCH Smart Times. To be followed by 109, Michael Reid, 110, Louise Comiskey, 111, Kurt Hanrahan. And that was a no score there for Abby Bright. We're just having a tidy up in the camp, and we'll continue on with competitor 108, Mitchell Hoy, and SCH Smart Times. Mitchell comes from the cold country in Guyra, New South Wales. We welcome you here to Queensland. Can't say we've been giving you the best of weather over the last couple of days. But we certainly had a lovely start to the week, lovely warm weather and no wind. And if you've just logged on, you're watching the Henry Earthmoving Restricted Open Campdraft. 191 competitors to run, and we're currently at 108. And as I said before, there's been fabulous drafting this morning. We currently have 30 competitors scoring above 87 points. So just await some fresh cattle for Mitchell Hoy and SCH Smart Times. Score for Mitchell Hoy and SCH Smart Times, a cutout of 22. 22. Next competitor, 109, Michael Reid and Annie's Gift. This is Annie's Gift. Michael's own nomination comes to us from West Wombai. Standing by, we have 110, Louise Comiskey, Savvy Dancing Cat. 111, Kurt Hanrahan's Peptazina. 112, Lexi Payne's Little Twirl. 113, James Moorhead, Style and Blues. 114, Pete Comiskey's Roy. 115, Regan O'Donnell's Blue Steel. 116, Scott Edwards' Little Abbey. 117, Stuart Wallace's Catnap. 118, David Reader's Cody. 119, Jack Mann's Crystal. 120, Jay Hall's Posh Rio. We're watching competitor 109, Michael Reid and Annie's Gift. Annie's out on course. Michael Reid, Annie's Gift. 110 goes on camp. Louise Comiskey, Savvy Dancing Cat. Kurt Hanrahan, you stand by at 111 with Peptozina. And there is $5,670 up for grabs to the winner of the Henry Earthmoving Restricted Open. There's an additional $500 to the person who has the highest cutout. At this stage we do have one person on a 23. It's been our highest cutout to date. We're only halfway though. Score for Michael Reid and Annie's Gift, cut out 20.5, horsework 60, course 4 for a total of 84.5. 84.5, Michael Reid and Annie's Gift, competitor 109. Capella Horsewoman on camp, Louise Comiskey, competitor 110, riding Savvy Dancing Cat. Just making her selection. We then look down to 111, Kurt Hanrahan, 112, Lexi Payne, 113, James Moorhead, 114, Pete Comiskey, 115, Regan O'Donnell. And she's out on course. Competitor 110, Louise Comiskey, Savvy Dancing Cat. Oh, that's excellent. Score for Louise Comiskey and Savvy Dancing Cat. Cut out 21, horsework 62.5, course 4 for a total of 87.5. It's an 87.5 run for Louise Comiskey, Savvy Dancing Cat. Kurt Hanrahan comes in at a 111, all the way from Billawheeler, and he's riding Peptozina. Standing by 112, Lexi Payne's Little Twirl, 113, James Moorhead's Style and Blues, and 114, Pete Comiskey's Nashville Roy L. Destiny, commonly known as Roy. And we have a no score there for Kurt Hanrahan and Peptozina. We'll be underway again shortly with competitor 112, Lexi Payne, Little Twirl. Little Twirl's owned by Joe and Lexi Payne. And we've seen Lexi numerous times throughout the week. She and Joe have travelled here from Mundubbera. James Moorhead stands by at 113 with Style and Blues. Then we'll have 114, Pete Comiskey's Roy. 115, Regan O'Donnell's Blue Steel. 116, Scott Edwards' Little Abbey. 117, Stuart Wallace's Catnap. 118, David Reader's Cody. 119, Jack Mann's Crystal. 120, Jay Hall's Posh Rio. 121, Luke Bennett's Malungra's Moonbeam. 122, Bill Carey's Ninja Cat. Outside, we watch competitor 112, Lexi Payne and Little Twirl. Score for Lexi Payne, Little 12s, a cutout of 22. New South Wales competitor, all the way from Ben Lomond, is our next competitor. James Moorhead comes in as competitor 113, riding Style and Blues. And he's out on course. James Moorhead, Style and Blues. Pete Comiskey at 114 comes on camp, riding Nashville Roy L. Destiny. At the gates, 115, Regan O'Donnell. Then we'll have 116, Scott Edwards. 117, Stuart Wallace. 118, David Reader. 119, Jack Mann. We have a score of 22 for James Moorhead and Style and Blues. Pete's been given the go-ahead by our judges, Mr. Daniel Cheers and Mr. Wayne Deneen. And he selects his beast, competitor 114, Pete Comiskey, Nashville Roy L. Destiny. Standing by 115, Regan O'Donnell. 116, Scott Edwards. 117, Stuart Wallace. 118, David Reader. 119, Jack Mann. And 120, Jay Hall. And he's underway. Nebo Horseman, Pete Comiskey, riding Roy. Calls for his gate and he's out on course. Pete Comiskey into the camp, goes 115, Regan O'Donnell. Stand by 116, Scott Edwards. Score for Pete Comiskey and Nashville Roy L. Destiny. Cut out 22, horsework 63, course 4 for an 89. It's 89 points for Pete Comiskey and Roy. Our next competitor comes to us from Iroka. This is Regan O'Donnell, competitor 115 with Blue Steel. And this is this is their own nomination. This horse is owned by the O'Donnell family. Unfortunately, no score there for Regan. Big thank you to our backyard boys. They've been very proficient throughout the entire week. $116 will be next. Scott Edwards riding Tony Mortimer's Little Abbey. This combination comes from Stroud Road. So we watch competitor 117, Stuart Wallace and Cat Knapp. Standby 118, David Reader, 119, Jack Mann, 120, Jay Hall, 121, Luke Bennett. So at the completion of this first round, we will have the novice final, the restricted open final, and then we'll do our presentations. There will be a drag at 191 at the completion of this draft. Clark Creek, competitor we watch, Stuart Wallace and Cat Knapp. He is competitor 117. Yeah, getting ahead of myself there. Stuart's wondering how he's going. That was Scott Edwards and Little Abbey with a cutout score of 20.5, 20.5. It's not like we're in a hurry to finish or anything. Next competitor, 117, Stuart Wallace and Cat Knapp. Comes to us from Clark Creek. Standing by 118, David Reader, 119, Jack Mann, 120, Jay Hall, 121, Luke Bennett, 122, Bill Carey. Outside, 117, Stuart Wallace and Cat Knapp. 118, David Reader, you'll be next. Then we'll have 119, Jack Mann. Score for Stuart Wallace and Cat Knapp. Cut out 22.5. Horsework 64. Course 4 for a total of 90.5. 90.5. And that is the highest score we've had this morning. That is our highest score so far in the Henry Earthmoving Restricted Open Campdraft. 22.5, 64 and 4 for a 90.5 for Stuart Wallace and Cat Knapp. Baramba competitor out on course. 118, David Reader and Cody. Jack Mann comes on camp at 119. Standby 120, Jay Hall, 121, Luke Bennett, 122, Bill Carey, 123, Jason Comiskey, 124, Joe Payne. Score for David Reader and Cody, cut out 22, horsework 63.5, course 4 for a total of 89.5, 89.5 for David Reader and Cody. Charters House Horseman, we watch. Jack Mann with Crystal. Comes in as competitor 119. This is his own nomination. Jay Hall stands by at 120 with Posh Rio. That's a no score there for Jack. And that beast is being taken across now. Tidied up the camp, and we continue on with competitor 120, Jay Hall and Hall's Posh Rio. And she heads for a gate. Competitor 120, Jay Hall and Hall's Posh Rio. And we have a score for Jay, cut out 16.5, horsework 59, course 4 for a total of 79.5. 79.5 for Jay Hall and Hall's Posh Rio. We scroll up the page to competitor 121, Luke Bennett and Willinga's Moonbeam. And we all know this horse is owned by Kim and Evan Acton. Luke himself comes from Dundee. Out on course, you're watching competitor 121, Luke Bennett and Willinga's Moonbeam. Into the camp, 122, Bill Carey's Ninja Cat. Standby 123, Jason Comiskey. 124, Joe Payne. 125, Tom Shea. 126, Ben Weller. We're watching Evan and Kim Acton's Willinga's Moonbeam. Out on course, being ridden by Luke Bennett, competitor 121. Score for Luke Bennett and Willinga's Moonbeam, cut out 21, horsework 63.5, course 4 for a total of 88.5. 88.5 for Luke Bennett and Willinga's Moonbeam. Bill Carey now in camp at 122 with Ninja Cat. This is Bill and Jill's own nomination. Standing by 123, Jason Comiskey. 124, Joe Payne. 125, Tom Shea. 126, Ben Weller. 127, Troy Palmer. 128, Jackie Knudsen. Cut out of 22, 22 for cut out there for Bill Carey and Ninja Cat, competitor 122. Alpha competitor Jason Comiskey is on camp with Tika. He comes in as competitor 123. Joe Payne will be standing by at 124 with In Style. Standing by also 125, Tom Shea. Jason Comiskey we watch. Competitor 123 riding Tika. Joe Payne's on camp at 124. Standby 125, Tom Shea. 126, Ben Weller. 127, Troy Palmer. 128, Jackie Knutson. 129, Erica Hanrahan. And 130, Harry Scott. And we will have a score for Jason Comiskey and Tika. And it's a cutout of 22. Horsework 61.5. Course 4 for an 87.5. 87.5 for Jason Comiskey and Tika. And judges are given the go-ahead to competitor 124, Joe Payne, and In Style. Joe, of course, is from Mundubra. Standing by 125, Tom Shea. 126, Ben Weller. Joe Payne we watch, In Style. Yeah, we'll get a score shortly for competitor 124, Joe Payne and In Style. Cut out 22, horsework 63, course 4 for an 89. It's an 89-point run for Joe Payne and In Style. 125 is on camp, Tom Shea riding Hannaford Stud Renegade. Standing by 126, Ben Weller, Stone Age Isabella. 127, Troy Palmer's Razor. 128, Jackie Knutson's Talk About Design. 129, Erica Hanrahan's Juliet. 130, Harry Scott's Morangi Romeo's Child. And then 131, Harry Steger's Hazelwood Cold Chisel. Please stand by. But it's Tom Shea we're about to watch. Competitor 125 riding Hannaford Stud Renegade. Braidwood competitor on camp, Tom Shea with Hannaford stud Renegade. Ben Weller waits at the gate at 126 with Stone Age Isabella. Stand by 127, Troy Palmer's Razor. No score there for Tom. Again, we tidy up the camp and continue on with our next competitor, 126, Ben Weller and Stone Age Isabella. And then we'll look to 127, Troy Palmer, 128, Jackie Knudsen, 129, Erica Hanrahan, 130, Harry Scott, 131, Harry Steger, 132, Sam Campbell, 133, Brad Williamson, 134, Mick Southern, 135, Mark Waterman. Outside, Eidsvold competitor Ben Weller rides Stone Age Isabella. Competitor 126. This is Ben's own nomination. I'm sure Mum and Dad are at home cheering him on. Standing by 127, Troy Palmer's Razor. 128, Jackie Knudsen's Talk About Design. 129, Erica Hanrahan. So score for Ben Weller and Stone Age Isabella, cut out 15, horsework 56.5, course 3 for a total of 74.5. 74.5 for Ben Weller and Stone Age Isabella. Cooler Horseman now on camp, Troy Palmer with Razor. This is Troy's own nomination. Actually, he's only purchased him just recently. He's worked out how to work him in the camp by the looks. And he's outside. Troy Palmer and Razor. And he has a cutout of 22.5. 22.5. Jackie Knudsen is next in. She comes in as competitor 128. Talk About Design. Stand by 129. Erica Hanrahan. 130 Harry Scott. 131 Harry Steger. 132 Sam Campbell. 133 Brad Williamson. And 134 Mick Southern. And unfortunately, no score there for Jackie. We just tidy that one up too, and we will continue on with competitor 129, Erica Hanrahan and Juliet. Harry Scott stands by at 130, then 131, another Harry Steger, 132, Sam Campbell, 133, Brad Williamson, 134, Mick Southern, 135, Mark Waterman. So this afternoon you will see the novice final at the completion of this first round. You'll see the restricted open final. We'll do the presentations at the completion of the novice and the restricted open. There will be an arena drag at after the completion of this round. So at 191 we will drag the arena and take a very short break. She comes to us from Billawheeler, this competitor, Erica Hanrahan, and Juliet, competitor 129. And she heads towards the gate, but no luck there. No luck there for Erica Hanrahan and Juliet. Local competitors is next. That's Harry Scott, competitor 130 with Morangi's Romeo's Child. And no luck there for Harry Scott and Morangi's Romeo's Child, competitor 130. Harry Steger, you'll be next with Hazelwood Cold Chisel, competitor 131. Then we'll see 132 Sam Campbell, 133 Brad Williamson, 134 Mick Southern, 135 Mark Wortman, 136 Dean Rogers, 137 Shane Palmer, 138 Rick Young. Outside, Cameron Horseman Harry Steger with Hazelwood Cold Chisel comes to us all the way from Camberwell. And we have a cutout score shortly of 22-22 for Harry. Now we watch Sam Campbell and Conai. This is Paddy Campbell's nomination. And Sam Campbell aboard. Stand by then. Competitor 133, Brad Williamson. 134, Mick Southern. 135, Mark Wortman. 136, Dean Rogers. 137, Shane Palmer. Score for Sam Campbell and Conai, cut out 21.5, horsework 64, course 4 for an 89.5. 89.5 for Sam Campbell and Conai. Competitor 132. We move down now to 133, Brad Williamson and Moonlight. Stand by 134, Mick Southern's Hostess. 135, Mark Wortman's Will Draft Outlaw. And 136, Dean Rogers, Even Con. Cut out of 21, 21 for Brad Williamson and Moonlight. Surat competitor Mick Southern on camp with Hostess. He comes in as competitor 134. And a no score there for Mick Southern and Hostess. As soon as the camp is clear, we will continue on with competitor 135, Mark Wortman, Will Drift Outlaw. Standing by 136, Dean Rogers, 137, Shane Palmer, 138, Rick Young, 139, Wyatt Young, 140, Rick Hopkins, 141, Scott Shea, 142, Ben Hall, 143, Josh Smith. If those competitors could please stand by. And you're watching the Henry Earthmoving Restricted Open Campdraft being judged this morning by Daniel Cheers and Wayne Deneen. And there has been a pattern. You've probably noticed we have one New South Wales judge and one Queensland judge throughout the weekend. So very big thank you to Graham Finlayson and Nathan Mauler for judging the Open and Novice. And the maiden for maiden was Ben Weller and Ben McNaughton. The ladies draft, Stephen Hart, the Restricted Open, Wayne Deneen and Daniel Cheers. And they will also judge the final of the shootout of the Novice. So the winner of this draft will take home $5,670 as a total prize pool of $28,350. And there's a $500 up in cash for the highest cutout. Calls for his gate and he's outside. Competitor 135, Mark Wortman and Will Draft Outlaw. 136 is next, Dean Rogers and Even Con. Standby 137, Shane Palmer, Taz's Little Destiny. But all eyes are on competitor 135, Mark Wardman and Will Draft Outlaw. Score for Mark Wardman and Will Draft Outlaw, cut out 20.5. Horsework 57, course 3 for an 80.5. So 20.5, 57 and 3 for an 80.5 for Mark Wardman. Will Draft Outlaw. Bigger Horseman, Dean Rogers is on camp with Even Con, competitor 136. Standing by 137, Shane Palmer, 138, Rick Young, 139, Wyatt Young, 140, Rick Hopkins, 141, Scott Shea, 142, Ben Hall, 143, Josh Smith, 144, Ben Williamson, 145, Riley Flanagan, 146, Vicky Hiscock, 147, Carl Green, 148, Peter Knutson, 149, Peter Black, and 150, Tim Flynn. If those competitors could please stand by. But we watch 136, Dean Rogers, comes to us from Bega, riding Even Con. Score for Dean Rogers and Even Con, cut out 15.5. Horsework 62.5. Course 4 for a total of 82. 82 points for Dean Rogers and Even Con. Tamworth competitor Shane Palmer now on camp with Taz's Little Destiny, competitor 137. Rick Young stands by, 138. Young Stars Marnie's Glamour, 139. Wyatt Young, Shady Spin and Pepsi. It's 15 there for Shane Palmer and Taz's Little Destiny. Rick Young, we watch. Young Star Marnie's Glamour, competitor 138. Rick is our Dolby competitor, Rick Young, and Young Stars Marnie Glamour. And very shortly we'll have a score for Rick Young. In the interim, we have 139 on camp, White Young and Shady Spin and Pepsi. Standby 140, Rick Hopkins and Super Act Shiraz. Score for Rick Young and Young Stars Marnie's Glamour. Cut out 15, Horsework 62, course 4 for a total of 81. It's an 81-point run for Rick Young. Tamworth competitor White Young is on camp. Shady Spin and Pepsi comes in as competitor 139. Rick Hopkins stands by at 140. 141 Scott Shea. 142 Ben Hall. 143 Josh Smith. 144 Ben Williamson. 145 Riley Flanagan. 146 Vicky Hiscock. 147 Carl Green. 148 Peter Knudsen. 149 Peter Black and 150 Tim Flynn. Outside, competitor 139, White Young, Shady Spin and Pepsi. $140 on camp, Rick Hopkins, standby 141, Scott Shea, 142, Ben Hall. Score for White Young and Shady Spin and Pepsi. Cut out 22, Horsework 63, course 4 for an 89. It's an 89 there for White Young. Rick Hopkins will be next. Rick will be riding Rick and Les Hopkins' nomination. Super Act Shiraz comes in as competitor 140. Comes to us from Ridgelands in Queensland. Standing by then 141 Scott Shea, 142 Ben Hall, 143 Josh Smith, 144 Ben Williamson, 145 Riley Flanagan. No score there for Rick. We move down when the camp is clear with competitor 141, Scott Shea. Stand by 142, Ben Hall. Scotchay we watch, competitor 114 with Moore's checkmate. Standby 142, Ben Hall, 143, Josh Smith, 144, Ben Williamson, 145, Riley Flanagan, 146, Vicky Hiscock, 147, Carl Green, 148, Peter Knudsen. Score for our Braidwood competitor, Scott Shea, cut out 20.5, horsework 60.5, course 4 for an 85. It's an 85-point run for Scott Shea and Moore's checkmate. Julia Creek competitor on camp, Ben Hall riding Tamaroo Jackson, competitor 142. Josh Smith stands by at 143 with Conduit. Then we'll have 144, Ben Williamson, 145, Riley Flanagan, 146, Vicky Hiscock, 147, Carl Green, 148, Peter Knudsen. That's a cutout of 15 for Ben Hall and Tamaroo Jackson. That's a 15 only. Josh Smith, you'll be next at 143 with Conduit. Then we'll have 144, Ben Williamson's Time and Time Again. 145, Riley Flanagan's Midnight Con. 146, Vicky Hiscock's Mewburn Bamalam. 147, Carl Green's Homeboy. 148, Peter Knudsen's Memphis. And 149, Peter Black's Toll Play. And we watch competitor 143, Josh Smith and Conduit. We'll have a score coming through shortly. And that's a cutout of 22.5. Horsework 63, course 4 for an 89.5. It's an 89.5 for Josh Smith and Conduit. We've had some great drafting here this morning. We now have 30 competitors scoring above 88 and over. 88 and over. Great drafting here this morning. Next competitor, 144, Ben Williamson and Time Again. Ben comes to Juandah Plains all the way from Alpha. And he's riding Aaron and Cassie Lucas, a nomination, Time and Time Again. Standing by 145, Riley Flanagan, 146, Vicky Hiscock, 147, Carl Green, 148, Peter Knudsen, 149, Peter Black, 150, Tim Flynn. And he calls through. Skate is out on the course. Competitor 144, Ben Williamson and Time Again. You'll be next, Riley Flanagan with Midnight Con. And we'll have a score shortly. Cutout 21, horsework 62, course 4 for an 87 for Ben Williamson, and Time Again, owned by Aaron and Cassie Looker. Gondawindi horseperson Riley Flanagan with Midnight Con. This is Brenton Rose Flanagan's nomination. Standing by 146, Vicky Hiscock, 147, Carl Green, 148, Peter Knutson, 149, Peter Black, 150, Tim Flynn. Have a change of cattle, then we'll have 151, Terry Hall, 152, Jason Penny, 153, Bryony Puttycombe, 154, Mia Bischoff. It's a no score there for Riley. Mafra competitor Vicky Hiscock will be our next competitor, riding Mewburn Bamalam. She comes in as competitor 146. And we'll see 147 Carl Green's Homeboy, 148 Peter Knutson's Memphis, 149 Peter Black's Child Play, 150 Tim Flynn's Wildcard Cinderella. There are 191 competitors to run in the Henry Earthmoving Restricted Open Campdraft this morning, and we are currently at competitor 146. Vicky acknowledges the judges and she's underway. Vicky Hiscock and Mewburn Bamalam, competitor 146. Victorian competitor all the way from Mafra, Vicky Hiscock. Carl Green, you'll be next at 147 with Homeboy, stand by 148, Peter Knutson. And she's outside, competitor 146, Vicky Hiscock. Mewburn Bamalam. Score for Vicky Hiscock and Mewburn Bamalam, cut out 22, horsework 63, course 4 for an 89. That is an 89-point run for Vicky Hiscock and Mewburn Bamalam. And that'll get counted on those scores that we've got. As I said before, just a moment ago, we had 30 competitors scoring more than 88 and above, and that's an 89. We now look down to competitor 147, Carl Green's Homeboy. All the way from Walker, calls for his gate. He's almost outside and he's out on the course. Carl Green, Homeboy. Peter Knudsen comes on camp at 1:47 with Memphis. Then we'll have 1:49 Peter Black's Child Play, 1:50 Tim Flynn's Wildcard Cinderella. We will flush the camp and there'll be a fresh yard for competitor 1:51 Terry Hall, TRR Jules Smart Olena. But it's Carl Green we watch, riding Homeboy, competitor 1:47. I'll get it too. Score for Carl Green, cut out 22, horsework 63.5. Course 4 for an 89.5 run. Carl Green and Homeboy. Chinchilla horseman Peter Knudsen is on camp with Memphis. Peter Black stands by, 1:49 Coldplay, 1:50 Tim Flynn. Outside, Peter Knudsen and Memphis. 1:49 goes on camp. Peter Black's Child Play. Stand by 1:50 Tim Flynn, 1:51 Terry Hall, 1:52 Jason Penny, 1:53 Bryony Puttycombe, 1:54 Mia Bischoff, 1:55 Rowan Marks, 1:56 Lachlan Durkin. Score for Peter Knudsen's Memphis, cut out 15, horsework 62, course 4 for an 81. It's an 81 for Peter Knudsen and Memphis. 1:49 on camp, Peter Black riding Child Play. This is our alpha competitor, Peter Black, or one of our alpha competitors, Peter Black and Child Play. And then we'll see competitor 1:50, Tim Flynn, Wildcard Cinderella. Standing by then, 1:51 Terry Hall, 1:52 Jason Penny. And unfortunately, that's a no score there for Peter Black and Child Play. This is our final competitor before we do a flush, and it'll be Tim Flynn riding Wildcard Cinderella, competitor 1:50. 1:51 stands by Terry Hall, 1:52 Jason Penny, 1:53 Bryony Puttycombe, 1:54 Mia Bischoff, 1:55 Rowan Marks. Outside, competitor 150, Tim Flynn and Wildcard Cinderella. And Terry will be next at 151 with TRR Jewel Smart Olena. But we will get a change of cattle on the completion of this run. Score for Tim Flynn and Wildcard Cinderella, cut out 15, horsework 62.5, course 4 for a total of 81.5. 81.5 for Tim Flynn, Wildcard Cinderella. So it won't take long. We'll just flush these cattle and then we'll get a fresh yard of cattle and I'll hand you over to Karen Burns to continue on for the next 50.
Thanks so much, Leslie Deneen. She's been here all week doing a marvellous job up here in the announcer's box. 151 in camp. We have Terry Hall riding TRR Jewel Smart Alina. This horse is owned by Marcus Kerr. You are watching the Henry Earthmoving Restricted Open draft this morning. Thank you to our judges, Mr. Daniel Cheers and Mr. Wayne Deneen. Next in will be 152, Jason Penny, 153, Bryony Puddicombe, 154, Mia Bischoff, 155, Rowan Marks, 156, Lachlan Durkin, 157, Morgan Marks, and 158 will be Stephen Hart. Score through there for Terry Hall, 22, 62 and 4 for an 88. 88 points there for Terry Hall riding TIR Jewel Smart Olena. 152 in camp, we have Jason Penny riding Sorta Smooth. 153 on standby, Bryony Puddicombe riding Destiny of Her Own. 154 Mia Bishop on Mr. Timmer-Matic. 155, Rowan Marks on Turner Marks Sharapova. 156, Lachlan Durkin on Leigh Luca's call card. 157, Morgan Marks riding Kerber. 15 only there for Jason Penny. 153 in camp is Bryony Puttycombe riding Destiny of Her Own. On standby, 154 Mia Bischoff, 155 Rowan Marks and 156 Lachlan Durkin. So I've just been told the bar is open. It's our last day here at Juandah Plains, but the bar is now open. Anyone who'd like a cold drink, we are watching on camp though. All eyes on Bryony Puttycombe riding Destiny of Her Own. She's competitor 153 in the draw. 154, you'll be next in Mia Bischoff riding Mr. Timmermatic. 155, Rowan Marks on Turner Marks Sharapova. 156, Lachlan Durkin. 157, Morgan Marks. 158, Stephen Hart. 159, Daniel Imsirovic. 160, Cameron Webster. 161, Toby Bruce. 162, Steve Comiskey. 163, Ben McNaughton. We have 191 competitors in this restricted open, this Henry Earthmoving Restricted Open draft. 191 competitors. We will drag the arena after competitor 191 before we move into the finals, where we will see the Pumps and Solar Roman Novice Shootout and the final of the Henry Earthmoving Restricted Open draft. Score there for Bryony Puttycombe riding Destiny of Her Own. 22, 64.5 and 4 for a 90.5. That puts you in the equal lead there, Bryony. Equal leader at 90.5. 154 in camp. We have Mia Bischoff riding Mr. Timmermatic. 155, you'll be next in Rowan Marks. 156, Lockie Durkin. 157, Morgan Marks. It's unfortunately a no score there for Mia. So Rowan Marks moves into camp, riding Turner Marks Sharapova, competitor 155 of this Henry Earthmoving Restricted Open draft. Henry Earthmoving is an established family-owned business located in Western Queensland with a wide range of plant machinery to cover all aspects of earthmoving for mining and agriculture projects. Henry Earthmoving has constructed property roads, done erosion control and cutter barring for Juandah Plains. So thank you to Henry Earthmoving for sponsoring this restricted open draft here on day 6 at Willinga at Juandah Plains Campdraft for 2025. We now watch in camp competitor 155, Rowan Marks, riding Turner Marks Sharapova. 156, you'll be next in. Lachlan Durkin, riding Leiluka's Corcard. 157, Morgan Marks on Kerber. 158, Stephen Hart, riding Yavin Smooth Spin. 159, Daniel Imsirovic will ride Tabasco. 160, Cameron Webster on Bob. Have a score through there for Rowan Marks, riding Turner Marks Sharapova, 22, 63.5 and a 4 for an 89.5. Lockie Durkin has moved into camp, competitor 156 in the draw, riding Leiluka's call card. 157 on standby at the gate, Morgan Marks. On Kerber, 158, Stephen Hart. 159, Daniel Imsirovic. 160, Cameron Webster. That's unfortunately a no score there for Lockie. Morgan Marks will move into camp. Competitor 157, riding Kerber. 158, Stephen Hart on Yavin Smooth Spin. 159, Daniel Imsirovic, riding Tabasco. 160, Cameron Webster, riding Bob. That's unfortunately a no score for Morgan. Just tidy up the yard. We will see competitor 158, Stephen Hart, riding Yavin Smooth Spin. Move into camp. 159 on standby, Daniel Imsirovic. 160, Cameron Webster. 161, Toby Bruce. 162, Steve Comiskey. 163, Ben McNaughton. 164, Alana Chamberlain. 165, Kerry Turner. 166, Joe Payne. 167, Michael Hayes. We have 191 competitors in this Henry Earthmoving Restricted Open draft. We will have a drag of the arena after competitor 191. Then we'll go on to the Pumps and Solar Roma novice shootout. And then, of course, the final of this Henry Earthmoving Restricted Open draft will conclude our program here at Juandah Plains for 2025. Incredible 6 days of drafting. Again, we shout out to all the wonderful people on the grounds making it happen in the backgrounds. All the IT team, the Willinga Park team, all the workers, all of the people from the cleaners right through. The grounds have been kept immaculate all week. So a great big thank you to all those people on the grounds making it work in the background. Special shout out from me for the 2 IT people in this office here that have been here for big hours every day, Angus and Coral, and of course Loki. So a big thank you to them. If you see them, they've had a big week. Score there for Stephen Hart riding Yavin Smooth Spin, 22, 63.5 and a 4 for an 89.5. Daniel Imsirovic moves into camp riding Tabasco, competitor 159. 160 Cameron Webster on Bob, 161 Toby Bruce on Miss Beijing, 162 Steve Comiskey on One Night Stand, 163 Ben McNaughton on Phoebe, 164 Alana Chamberlain will ride Amalfi, 165 Kerry Turner on Hingis, 166 Joe Payne on Leyland Conceit, 167 Michael Hayes on Shadak Porsche, 168 Ben Hall on Hall's El Torio, 169 Adrian Lamb on Playgirl, 170 Jackson Ball riding Posh. It's a 21 only there for Daniel Imsirovic riding Tabasco. 160 in camp is Cameron Webster riding Bob, 161. You'll be next in, Toby Bruce on Miss Beijing, 162 Steve Comiskey on One Night Stand, 163 Ben McNaughton on Phoebe. 164 Alana Chamberlain riding Amalfi, and 165 will be Kerry Turner riding Hingis. We have a new leader, Cameron Webster riding Bob, 22, 65.5 and a 4 for a 91.5. Toby Bruce has moved into camp, competitor 161 riding Miss Beijing. 162 Steve Comiskey will ride One Night Stand, 163. Ben McNaughton riding Phoebe, 164 Alana Chamberlain riding Amalfi. So no score there for Toby Bruce, riding Miss Beijing. Next into camp will be 162. Steve Comiskey, riding One Night Stand. 163 on standby. Ben McNaughton, 164 Alana Chamberlain, 165 Kerry Turner, 166 Joe Payne, 167 Michael Hayes, 168 Ben Hall. Score there for Steve Comiskey, riding One Night Stand of a 20.5 only. Ben McNaughton in camp, riding Phoebe at competitor 163. 164 you'll be on standby next in, Alana Chamberlain. Riding Amalfi, 165 Kerry Turner, 166 Lexi Payne, 167 Michael Hayes, 168 Ben Hall. Score through there for Ben McNaughton of a 22.58 and 3 for a total of 83. Outside, we're watching 164 Alana Chamberlain riding Amalfi. Moving into camp 165 will be Kerry Turner, 166 Lexi Payne, 167 Michael Hayes, 168 Ben Hall, 169 Adrian Lamb, 170 Jackson Ball. Score there for Alana Chamberlain of 21.55.5 and 3 for a total of 79.5. In camp now we have competitor 165. This is Kerry Turner riding Hingis. Into camp 166 Lexi Payne. On standby 167 Michael Hayes, 168 Ben Hall, 169 Adrian Lamb, 170 Jackson Ball. 171 Laurie Beard, 172 Matt Holtz, 173 John Mulcahy, 174 David Murphy and 175 Louise Comiskey. Score there for Kerry Turner was a 22, a 60 and a 4 for a total of 86. Lexi Payne we watch in camp at 166 riding Leyland Conceit. 167 will be Michael Hayes riding Shadak Porsche. 168 Ben Hall on Hall's El Torio. 169 80 Lamb riding Playgirl. 170 Jackson Ball on Posh. 171 Laurie Beard will ride Stylish. 172 Matt Holtz on Shakira's Tapped In. 173 John Mulcahy on Stratton Just Rosie. 174 David Murphy riding Mobile Price Tag. That's unfortunately no score there for Lex. So moving into camp will be 167 Michael Hayes on Shadak Porsche. On standby you'll be next in Ben Hall riding Hall's El Torio. As 168, 169 Adrian Lamb, 170 Jackson Ball. Score there for Michael Hayes, 22, 62 and 4 for an 88. In camp now, outside we have Ben Hall riding Hall's El Toreo. Competitor 168, 169 on standby Adrian Lamb, 170 Jackson Ball, 171 Laurie Beard, 172 Matt Holtz, 173 John Mulcahy. Score there for Ben Hall was a 22, 62 and 4 for a total of 88. Outside we're watching competitor 169 Adrian Lamb riding Playgirl. On standby, moved into camp now, 170 Jackson Ball riding Posh, 171 on standby Laurie Beard riding Stylish, 172 Matt Holtz on Shakira's Tapped In, 173 John Mulcahy on Stratton Jest Rosie, 174 David Murphy riding Mobile Price Tag, 175 Louise Comiskey on LD Zahara. Score through there for Adrian Lamb of a 22, 61.5 and a 4 for an 87.5. Outside we watch competitor 170 Jackson Ball riding Posh. $171's in camp, Laurie Beard, 172 on standby Matt Holtz, 173 John Mulcahy, 174 David Murphy, 175 Louise Comiskey, 176 Andrew Storman. Score through there for Jackson Ball, 21, 61.5 and a 4 for an 86.5. Jackson, could you come and see Lauren in the office, please? 171 Laurie Beard in camp, riding Stylish. 172 Matt Holtz on Shakira's Tapped In. 173 John Mulcahy on Stratton Jest Rosie. 174 David Murphy on Mobile Price Tag. 175 Louise Comiskey on LD Zahara. 176 Andrew Storman will ride Rathcoole Halo. 177 Robert Leach on Appeal Vale Truce. 178 Ian Hengsberger on Bilcurra Basalt. Score there for Laurie Beard of a 22, 62.5 and a 4 for an 88.5. 172 in camp, Matt Holtz on Shakira's Tapped In. 173 John Mulcahy riding Stratton Jest Rosie. 174 will be David Murphy. 175 Louise Comiskey. 176 Andrew Storman. In camp, we watch competitor 172, Matt Holtz, riding Shakira's Tapped In. 173 on standby, John Mulcahy. 174, David Murphy. 175, Louise Comiskey. If you've tuned in, you're watching the Henry Earthmoving Restricted Open Draft. Our judges today, Mr. Daniel Cheers and Mr. Wayne Deneen. We have $28,350 in prize money for this Henry Earthmoving Restricted Open Draft. It's a score of 22 only there for Matt Holtz, riding Shakira's Tapped In. 173 in camp is John Mulcahy, riding Stratton Jest Rosie. Next in will be 174, David Murphy. 175, Louise Comiskey. 176, Andrew Storman. So the winner of the Restricted Open Draft will take home that Ride Tough buckle and $5,670. There's a $500 cash prize for the highest cutout today. So the program for today will run like this. For those of you out there wondering, we will be doing the Henry Earthmoving Restricted Open Draft, completing round 1, which is 191 competitors. We'll then have an arena drag. Then we will move on to the Pumps and Solar Roman Novice Shootout. We will do the Restricted Open final, and then we will do presentations for both of those events at the end. That will complete our Sunday here, day 6 at Juandah Plains. We'll complete our camp drafting program. The bar is open, so please make your way up to the bar and have a drink. But we will have 191 competitors completed before we drag the arena and do the novice shootout and the final of this Restricted Open. That's a score there for John Mulcahy of a 22, 64 and 4, for a total of 90 there for John. And Stratton Jest Rosie. 174 in camp, David Murphy, riding Mobile Pros Tag. 175, you'll be next in, Louise Comiskey on LD Zahara. 176, Andrew Storman on Rathcoole Halo. 177, Rob Leach on Pilval Truce. 178, Ian Hanksberger. 179, Pete Comiskey on Bungabi Elegant Spin. 180, Colin Sylvester riding Gangman. 181 is withdrawn, so backyard men and women, please know that 181 is a scratching. 182 will be Stuart Wallace. 183, Bill Carey. $175 in camp, Louise Comiskey on LD Zahara. 176, you'll be next in, Andrew Storman. 177, Rob Leach, and 178, Ian Hanksberger. Score through there for David Murphy, riding Mobile, price tag of a 21.5, 63 and 4 for an 88.5. Louise Comiskey in camp, competitor 175, riding LD Zahara, 176. You'll be next in, Andrew Storman, riding Rathcool Halo, 177 Rob Leach, 178 Ian Hanksberger, 179 Pete Comiskey. $21.5 there. Score for Louise Comiskey, riding LD Zahara, 21.5 only. Andrew Storman in camp, competitor 176, riding Rathcool Halo. 177 will be Rob Leach, riding Pilvale Truce. 178 Ian Hanksberger on Bilcurra Basalt. 179 Pete Comiskey on Bungabi Elegant Spin. 180 Colin Sylvester on Gangman. 181 will be that scratching. 182 Stuart Wallace. 183 Bill Carey. 184 David Reeder and 185 Andrew Turvey. Score there for Andrew Storman, 20.5, 62 and 4 for an 86.5. 177 in camp, looking over his cattle, Rob Leach, riding Pilvale Truce. 178 Ian Hanksberger, 179 Pete Comiskey, 180 Colin Sylvester, 181 is the scratching, 182 Stuart Wallace, 183 Bill Carey. That's a no score there for Rob Leach, riding Peelvale Truce. Tidy up that yard, put that beast into the yards, and we will have competitor 178, Ian Hanksberger, riding Bilcurra Basalt, moving into camp. 179 on standby, Pete Comiskey, riding Bungabi Elegant Spin. 180, Colin Sylvester on Gangman. 181 is That Scratching. 182, Stuart Wallace. 183, Bill Carey. 184, David Reeder. 185, Andrew Turvey. 186 will be Kurt Hanrahan. 187, Jason Comiskey. 188, Peter O'Neill. We have 191 competitors in this Restricted Open first round, this Henry Earthmoving Restricted Open draft. We will do a quick arena drag before we move on to the novice shootout. So novice riders, we only have 11 or 12 competitors left in this Restricted Open, Henry Earthmoving Restricted Open. We will have a short arena drag, and then we will be going on to the Pumps and Solar Roman Novice Shootout. Then the final of this Restricted Open will conclude our day. We'll be doing presentations after those two finals. Have a score there for Ian in a moment. .179 is in the camp. Pete Comiskey riding Bungabi Elegant Spin. 180 on standby, Colin Sylvester riding Gangman. 181 is That Scratching. 182 will be Stuart Wallace. Score there for Ian Hanksberger of a 21, 59 and 4 for a total of 84. We now watch Pete Comiskey, competitor 179 in the draw, riding Bungabi Elegant Spin. 180 will be next in, Colin Sylvester. It's a score of 15.5 there for Pete. 180 has moved into camp. Colin Sylvester riding Gangman. 181 is That Scratching, so we'll need a cattle taken out, please. Boys in the yards there. 182 will be Stuart Wallace. 183 Bill Carey. 184 David Reeder. 185 Andrew Turvey. 186 Kurt Hanrahan. 187 Jason Comiskey. 188 Peter O'Neill. 189 Tony Menkins. That's unfortunately no score for Colin, and we need to take a beast out because 181 is That Scratching. 182 will be Stewie Wallace riding Buston Style. 183 Bill Carey on Telly. 184 David Reeder on PSP. 185 Andrew Turvey on Knipe's Destiny's Playgirl. 186 Kurt Hanrahan on PV Grasshopper, 187 Jason Comiskey on Sately, 188 Peter O'Neill riding Roy, 189 Tony Menkins on Delilah, 190 will be Jay Hall on Khaleesi, and 191 Tom Wallace on Water Playboy. Scores of 89 and above will go into the final of the Restricted Open, just because we're aware that you might like to know that 89 and above will go into the final of the Restricted Open. Stuart Wallace we watch in camp, riding Buston Style. He's competitor 182 in the draw. There are 191 competitors in this Henry Earthmoving Restricted Open draft. Bill Carey, you'll be next in on telly at 183. At 184, David Reeder on PSP. 185, Andrew Turvey on Knipe's Destiny's Playgirl. 186, Kurt Hanrahan riding PV Grasshopper. Score there for Stuart Wallace of a 22 only. Bill Carey is in camp, riding telly. He's competitor 183. 184, you'll be next in. David Reeder riding PSP. 185, Andrew Turvey on Knipe's Destiny's Playgirl. 186, Kurt Hanrahan. 187, Jason Comiskey. 188, Peter O'Neill. 189, Tony Menkins. 190, Jay Hall. Our final competitor will be 191, Tom Wallace. Score of 22 only there for Bill Carey and Telly. In camp now, competitor 184, David Reeder, riding PSP. On standby at the gate, 185, Andrew Turvey. 186, Kurt Hanrahan. 187, Jason Comiskey. 188 will be Peter O'Neill. You're watching the Henry Earthmoving Restricted Open Draft. Our last 7 competitors here today. Our judges, thank you to Mr. Daniel Cheers and Mr. Wayne Deneen. The winner of the Restricted Open Draft takes home a Ride Tough buckle and $5,670. There's a $500 cash prize for the highest cutout. Have a score there for David Reader, riding PSP 2262.5 and a 4 for an 88.5. Andrew Turvey has moved into camp, riding Knipe's Destiny's Playgirl. He's competitor 185. 186, you'll be next in, Kurt Hanrahan. 187, Jason Comiskey on standby. 188, Peter O'Neill. 189, Tony Menkins. 190, Jay Hall. And our final competitor before the drag of the arena will be 191, Tom Wallace. Once again, that announcement, 89 and above, will go into the final of this Henry Earthmoving Restricted Open. These beautiful cattle we're drafting, of course, Willinga Pastoral Co. 6 days of Willinga Pastoral Co. cattle. We've watched them move in and out of the paddocks out there all week. Incredible feat. Score there for Andrew Turvey, riding Knipe's Destiny's Playgirl 22, 63 and 4 for an 89. Kurt Hanrahan has moved into camp. He's competitor 186 in the draw, riding PV Grasshopper. 187, you'll be next in, Jason Comiskey, riding Saintly. 188, Peter O'Neill on Roy. 189, Tony Menkins, riding Delilah. 190, Jay Hall will ride Khaleesi. Our final competitor will be 191, Tom Wallace, riding Water Playboy. Score there for Kurt Hanrahan, riding PV Grasshopper, is a 22, 63 and 4 for a total of 89. Jason Comiskey in camp looking over his cattle, riding Saintly's, competitor 187 in the draw. 188 Peter O'Neill, 189 Tony Menkins, 190 Jay Hall, 191 will be Tom Wallace. So once again, just so we're clear about the program for the afternoon, we'll drag the arena after competitor 191. And then we will be going on to the Pumps and Solar Roman Novice Shootout. And then the final of this Restricted Open, the Henry Earthmoving Restricted Open. And then we will do the presentation of both those finals to end the day. Score there for Jason Comiskey riding Saintly of a 23, 59.5 and a 4 for a total of 86.5. Jason, don't go too far away. I believe that there are now 2 of you on 23, so if that's the case, I believe there may be a runoff. I'll just confirm that with Lauren. There is on camp now, we have competitor 188, Peter O'Neill riding Roy, 189, Tony Menkins riding Delilah, 190, Jay Hall on Khaleesi. Okay, thanks Peter. Peter O'Neill, 23.5 camp only. So riding Roy, 189 in camp, Tony Menkins riding Delilah, 190 will be Jay Hall on Khaleesi, 191 Tom Wallace on What a Playboy. So Peter, that's so far our cutout leader, vying for the $500 cash prize for the cutout. The winner of the Restricted Open Draft takes home a Ride Tough buckle and $5,670. Incredible prize money this week at Juandah Plains. Total prize money for this open draft is $28,350. Our judges today, Mr. Daniel Cheers and Mr. Wayne Deneen, thank you so much for your time today on this beautiful Sunday here at Juandah Plains. And thank you to Henry Earthmoving, who have been our major sponsors of this Restricted Open Draft. Please contact them if you want any earth moving for mining and agricultural projects. It's unfortunately no score there for Tony. He goes away with no score, riding Delilah. We'll tidy up the camp and then we will see competitor 190, Jay Hall, riding Khaleesi. 191 will be our final competitor, Tom Wallace, riding What a Playboy. In camp, we're watching competitor 190, Jay Hall, riding Khaleesi. 191 will be our final competitor, Tom Wallace, riding What a Playboy. Scores come through for Jay Hall riding Khaleesi, 21, 59.5 and a 4 for an 84.5. Our final competitor is in camp, 191, Tom Wallace riding What a Playboy. That ends round 1 of the Henry Earthmoving Restricted Open Draft. Score through there for Tom Wallace riding What a Playboy, 21, 63 and 4 for an 88. So we're going to clean out the yards. We'll do a quick arena drag. So novice competitors, we are going to do a quick arena drag, and then we will go on to the Pumps and Soul Aroma novice shootout. So 89 and above will go into the final of this Henry Earthmoving Restricted Open. If you've got an 89 or above. We have a clear winner of the cutout, Peter O'Neill, riding Roy with a 23.5. He will win that $500 cash.